What a fantastic coming to age story. This film was fantastic. I really loved it. And maybe because I connected with it and whatnot. I'm gonna be very clear about that because of the nature of this film. But like, this film was fantastic, and let's jump into it. So that brings us to the review now of the new film, All My Puny Sorrows. What's up, folks, and welcome back to the channel today for another review. And today we're going to be reviewing a film, All My Puny Sorrows, which is available now. It made its world premiere last year at TIFF, and I can't believe I missed it. Very disappointed in that. But this film is fantastic. You may have heard this title before because it is a adaptation from a novel back in 2014. But let me just talk about my connection to this film, because this film does... It discusses suicide, and it's not to say I've ever been suicidal, but it's because understanding that these things exist and that people need to talk about it, and kind of being on the sense of like understanding or being around folks who have felt this way, and how at times that conversation could come off comedic, and I love how it kind of explores it from that nature. And then it just matures over time, and it tells you the serious degree of it, and how it could be like a generational, almost like a generational mindset of suffering passed on until you break the chain. So like, it tells a fantastic story. It has so much heart. The performances emotionally driven. Talking about Sarah Gadon, who plays Elf, and Alison Pill, who plays Yoli, the two sisters here. Yoli is a author, and she's struggling with it a little bit, but you know, that's what she does. That's her passion. And Elf is a pianist who is doing fantastic, actually, but she's also been struggling with, we have to say depression, but more or less in suicide. They lost their father to suicide, so you know, and they talk about suicide being a genetic thing, a genetic mindset, and as I said, like, it could be a generational mindset of suffering. But you know, they you know, I've heard that be expressed, that suicide can be very much an emotionally embedded feeling passed on through generations. So you know, Elf, who's fantastic, but she's just obsessed with ending her life, and like I said, her sister is just struggling with her craft and being an author, and as a writer, you know, not only just that, but she has to battle the idea that her sister wants to commit suicide, and trying to figure that out, but also figure herself out in all of this. So it's a lot, and a lot of this movie is definitely dialogue driven, but it has so much heart. I mean, I can't speak enough about Sarah and Alison's banter with one another. Like, the two sisters, just the conversations that's being had, like, there's a little bit of a comedic tone to it, but like how everything just matures so quickly. And I think they have good chemistry together, really elevating each other, one another in every scene. I just feel like as the film get deeper, the performances got better. And I also want to add, who also I thought was fantastic, in Amybeth McNulty. Up and down the board, I thought the cast was good, honestly. And I think it was important because you needed to connect with this film. You needed to feel something. You had to embrace those feelings to truly make the message very transparent for folks, so that folks can receive it in a fashion that that makes sense and that discusses the degree of the seriousness of this. You know what I mean? But you know, good messages coming out of this film. What does it mean to be alive? And to care, and you know, to continue to live. You know, it's powerful. And when you lose somebody such as your father, and you have your sister who also wants to end her life, you know, understanding these feelings and understanding, you know, addressing these and being okay with addressing these, and I'm also understanding the medical aspect to this, because there's a great deal of presence of, I would almost say, a gaslighting doctor who kind of is just taking it from a medical standpoint. When you have the sister saying, I know my sister's better than anybody else, I know what's going on, you know what I mean? And then the parents, the mother that's still trying to move on with life, losing her husband, but also understand that her sister is, you know, sort of metabolizing the same feelings. You know, it's really a lot going on. But more or less, this is about grief management, and yes, the ability of moving on, and then the trauma response to these things. You know, so like very strong messages that these things exist, these feelings exist, and anybody can feel these ways. I mean, I hate to kind of, you know, go down the path, but Robin Williams, somebody who had a lifetime of making people laugh, but was internally suffering. I think we see glimpses of that when you look at Elf, who again just is gifted, you know. And when you talk about what does it mean to be a pianist, and one may say like, oh, you just perform and that's that, but like her sister even detailed, we're like, you can go away and come back and you're still treated with the same degree. But as an author, as a writer, once you go away, you're forgotten, and understanding like how that all applies into one's mindset, you know. And Yoli is trying to be strong for her sister, but also trying to be strong for herself, but also trying to discover, you know, more stuff about herself and her family, and being there. And even if that meant her completely breaking down, you know. So it's a very heart-wrenching story between these two loving sisters. I loved it. I can't believe I've waited so long to check it out. Check it out, man. Just be prepared for the vast amount of rush of emotions you're going to endure, and hopefully you're able to take something out of it, and by taking something out of it, maybe it helps your life personally, or it can help somebody around you. Because whenever you're talking about suicide, and just generational trauma and generational suffering, I think more people need to have more conversations about it, because more people's lives could be saved from it. So, but yeah, check it out, folks. Jump in the comments, let me know your thoughts about it when you do, and as always, stay tuned for more reviews very soon.